Thank you, everybody, for coming to our keynote presentation. I'm super excited to have David Totten here, Chief Technology Officer for Microsoft US, coming to our summit and doing the keynote kickoff presentation. David has a long history with Microsoft, been there 17 years. Before that, Accenture, has a lot of insights around the architecture and design of modern day technology systems. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to David.
Hi there, my name is David Totten. I'm Chief Technology Officer here in Microsoft US, in charge primarily of third-party applications and services on top of our technology stack. And I'm very excited to be a part of this. I love this community. You guys continue to grow and show strength and power in a very strong industry. And I love where we're at right now in the state of transformation in the printing industry specifically. And I'm excited to be the one who can help deliver, maybe some ideas for you to think about on your own technology journey with cloud infrastructure. So before I hop right in, let me give you a quick overview of my team and my accountabilities here at Microsoft. I've been with the firm for 17 years now. I thought it would be two. In fact, I promised my fiance at the time it was only 2.5, and here we are 17 years later. I'm still stuck in the engine room. So my org, very specifically, we work with third-party services. And what that means is partners, ISVs, IP creators, service partners, and we help build applications or service lines on top of Microsoft's first-party products, such as Microsoft 365 or Azure or Dynamics 365. And the reason why we do that is because Microsoft as a company is phenomenal at obviously building first-party services. I'm going to explain a lot of those to you today and where we think we have a competitive advantage in the marketplace. But in order to make it real and for customers to consume it, we have to attach those first-party services to line of business applications or to products and services that people are leveraging in their everyday environments. And so instead of just selling, hey, $1 million of Azure, we're actually trying to sell and deliver against the business outcomes that cloud computing, storage, analytics, and AI can deliver. And therefore, we rely a lot on third-party partners. All these partners you know about, Accenture, SAP, Adobe, IBM, KPMG, they're all partners within our ecosystem. And my job is to make sure that every time we release a new service intervention or a new service innovation, our team actually helps take that invention and innovation to market with partners to make their products and services better. And it's all built on the scale of what's possible with digital transformation. So I'm going to talk about a lot today. And some parts you're going to nod in on, and some parts you're going to nod out at. What I would ask you to do on your own journey to sort of exploring what technology can do to make you and your business stronger, just consider some options on why we're the biggest, baddest platform to rely on. We've been in this enterprise and SMB technology space for 45 plus years, and we continue to innovate. We put more R&D investment than all of our major competitors do combined. We have more patents released every year than anybody else in the world. We continue to innovate and be that service layer fabric that we want every company to absorb. And we talk a lot about individual products, and I'll probably talk about a few of those here in this conversation. We want to be a best-in-class word processor. We want to be a best-in-class Azure compute, data storage company. We also want to be a best-in-class technology product. I'm recording this right now on Teams, our collaboration platform. So we want to be the best IM collaboration, co-authoring technology service on the planet. We think we can do that. But more importantly for us is to build the fabric, the service infrastructure that other people can come in and drive innovation within. We're building a lot of products right now specifically to open up to customers and partners to develop on top of our platform in order to generate the actual product itself. And that's the important differentiator for us. We want to be a best-in-class solution provider, but really a best-in-class platform provider at the end of the day for any customer or any partner in the world to really achieve their true transformational growth. And so with that, I just want to start quickly with just our overall mission statement. And I get a little teary-eyed at times when I think about our own company transformation, because we've changed a lot in the 17 years that I've been here, and not just in the stock price, though that's been nice. That's been a good little feature for me. I'll just say right now, our entire premise of an operating model is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. We believe in that. And the audacity of that goal seems magnificent. You think about 7.5 billion people of the world and all these incredible world problems trying to be solved and addressed. And we believe technology can make it easier. We believe that clear, positive intent, ethical and sustainable technology investments make the world a better place to live. We think that researchers can do their best work on our platform. We think that transportation companies and supply chain can be more efficient and connect different relationships with their partners, their supply chain, their customers better on our platform. We think educators can reach more scale and easier access to technology on our platform. And it seems strange, right? Because we're in so many different solution areas, whether it's devices, it's personal productivity, it's enterprise storage and compute, it's CRM systems and ERP. How can Microsoft do all those things well? And it really is a bet on the platform itself. You know, everybody has been on a Windows PC before, but we're much more than just a Windows company today. I like to consider ourselves a problem-solving services company, and that we provide a framework for other people to leverage in order to solve the world's greatest problems. And so that's our mission statement. It feels big, it's audacious, but it's why I get up every morning and invest the time I do in the Microsoft ecosystem. You know, the first thing I'll just start off with on why choose Microsoft or why think about us in this marketplace is just overall, what are we doing? This is a brand new world and things have evolved so tremendously in the past year. It's been an absolute disaster, from a pandemic, shifting business priorities, social unrest here in the United States, political turmoil and transformation. And then obviously just what happens now that we've got vaccine, how do we get it to the people? How do we manage it? How do we supply chain? How do we make sure we don't have another COVID in the future? It's been a heavy investment of new ways of working. And, you know, there's only one word that we really sort of think about when it comes into scope, and it's really about resilience. It's about how we've all risen together to be different and apply different ways of working to be more efficient as a community. It takes a lot of people to commit to doing things differently in order to make it work. But right away, when the pandemic hit, there's sort of a three-phase approach we're seeing every customer take. First is just recognition. The pandemic is here, and are our people okay? Are they okay? Are they safe? Are they secure? Are they affected? Do they have family that are at risk? So how do we communicate and establish controls and a culture within our own teams? That was sort of job one, right? Which is sort of react to the changing experience, businesses shutting down, entire industries going out of business. And are our people okay through that initial shock? The second piece is, okay, now that we sort of connected to our people, now we need to figure out how to run and work in a new hybrid workspace. That means things like Windows Virtual. That means things like Teams and collaboration tools to connect with our own employees and with our customers and partners differently. So we had this really long phase last calendar year around just, okay, now that we're in a new space and we're not traveling and we're not experiencing as much hand-to-hand interaction as we used to, even in the printing industry, how do we do things to leverage technology to drive that scale and that new hybrid workforce differently? What are we doing with our real estate clients? What do we do with retail, hospitality, some of these industries that were particularly hard hit? How do they communicate to their customers differently? And so we had to adjust. And I've got a ton of unbelievable examples of companies flipping their business model on its head, all powered by the use of technology. One example is right here in my backyard in Seattle, a restaurant called Canlis, also known as the finest dining restaurant in all of Seattle. If you can get a reservation at Canlis at 7:45 on a Friday night overlooking the lake, that's when you know you've made it. I still am waiting, okay, to make said reservation, which is why I'm still working. So Canlis is this amazing restaurant known for fine dining, amazing chefs, worldwide, gold stars, and all that good stuff across the board. Well, obviously, when the pandemic hit, they can't do in-person dining anymore. And does fine dining and the best steaks in all of King County, does that really translate to an at-home delivery model? Sort of hard. Do we want to outsource that to Grubhub, Uber Eats? That was a hard transition for them to make. Instead, what Canlis did is they set up several different scenarios. Drive-through dining and doing gourmet burgers at lunch. They had experiences that were socially distanced, such as Tiki Thursday, and take-home boxes. They created a CSA to deliver farm-to-table experiences for their loyal customers, where they package up product that's uncooked with recipe cards to make it cooked. They took their waitresses, waiters, their chefs, their cooks, their sommelier, and turned them into delivery drivers and loyalty consultants who drove around and delivered these CSA boxes and these at-home meal prep kits to connect with their customers and say, we can't wait to have you back in the store. Once that ran its course and they realized, hey, we're doing some other things, they started doing a movie night scenario where you could actually order food, pick it up, and then attend a virtual movie that they would stream directly from their website. They turned that into bingo night. I, for one, have spent many a Friday night sitting down with my pizza and my canless vegetable salad with a nice glass of wine doing bingo night on our local fine dining establishment. Then they changed into Canlis University, giving cooking classes, bartending lessons, lessons in etiquette, having a sommelier's master class over a series of several weeks. They charged $25 for a subscription. All that went to charity and to farm development. This is a great example of not only, extending and existing and keeping your employees productive and employed during the pandemic, but they turned to the third phase of reaction in the pandemic times, which is how do we thrive? How do we create new customer scenarios, new customer demand? How do we acquire additional customers that will come into our marketplace when times return closer to normal, right? How do we extend the loyalty and the extension of our relationships with our existing customers so we know they'll be back? They haven't found a secondary product. So I use Canlis Restaurant, not because it's obviously one of my favorite restaurants that I can only afford to go to once a quarter. I use it because they leverage technology to connect with people all over the world and locally in their local community to drive sustainability in multiple markets, not just food service, but in farm and delivery and technology advocacy for baking orders. They leverage something fun like movie night and bingo night to really engage a community of followers where people could write in cards and make requests for musical performances. All of that will generate higher customer demand when they actually come back to business. And that's the phase we're in. We have to figure out how to deal with the cards that we were dealt. We have to figure out how to make sure that we're managing and we're connecting and we're keeping our businesses afloat. And then we have to move to this thrive scenario. How can we leverage the deals that we work hard, not just to survive, but to thrive in the next generation of opportunity? And that's what technology can help open up for all of you, like it has a lot of our clients. I'll just talk and start at one of the biggest challenges we have across the footprint of the Microsoft ecosystem, of course, any enterprise or small business footprint. We got a problem with siloed data. People are capturing data wherever they are all the time. It's unbelievable the data points we have now. We have mobile telephones in our pockets, right? Mobile internet wherever we go. We're logging in. There's sensors, there's cameras, rings, the ring camera system, picking up data and entry points from wherever you are. All this data. Now, how do we leverage it? And there's so many of those challenges from a business perspective of who's interacting with our platform, who's talking to us at what point in time to derive what answer, and how do we develop those relationships with those customers differently, leveraging all this data. Historically, it's the biggest piece right now is that we've got about 200 zettabytes of data, and I can't even put that into context. It's 175 trillion gigabytes of data, which doesn't actually help explain anything. It's just a whole lot of data. We have actually in place right now being captured and manipulated, ingested, and trying to be standardized for analytics and insights with no clue how to do it correctly. And unless you have a scaled and robust infrastructure to help take that data in, you have no idea how to take advantage of your existing customer relationships or existing market trends to then fortify and develop a strategy for a new customer acquisition in the future. It's all about siloed data of the past. And what the cloud has enabled us to do is really form this digital feedback loop, really connect all these entry points, both internal to our own ecosystem, right, as your own business. Think about how you hire people. Think about who your salespeople are talking to. Think about what your supply chain partner distribution networks look like. Think about how you connect to your customers. We pull all of your own data together and we integrate it with industry market data. And there's so much technical advances available to you that you don't have to build the infrastructure, the data models, the intelligence, right, on how to actually glue those data points together. You can leverage a party provider like us, a third-party public cloud offer like us that helps you with that technology, helps you stitch together these siloed data sources to be more impactful, not just within your own enterprise, within your own ecosystem, but within the entire market of what's happening. And we're going to walk through some examples of how we've been able to do that with several successful companies. The thing I want to anchor this entire presentation around is this digital feedback loop. And we believe that public cloud and the adoption of a cloud story really revolves around these four entities. How do we empower employees better? How do we engage our customers? How can we transform products and optimize operations? There was a time when I got started in IT many moons ago where IT was all about optimizing operations. How do we reduce costs? How do we make things more secure? How do we actually remove redundant servers and infrastructure assets to drive productivity? It was all on the cost, the balance sheet. We're seeing IT turn from just a cost center into a profit center by doing the other three things exceptionally well. Can we empower employees with technical investment? Can we engage customers differently and more deeply by leveraging technology? And can we actually transform the widget, the service, the product that we leverage? Can we do it faster, cheaper, more efficiently, right, by leveraging technology? It's not just about optimizing internal operations. It's about making our company more robust and more profitable through our outward mechanisms as well. And it's all tied with that data and intelligence we just talked about into one entire sphere. We'll spend the bulk of the time on the conversation on that digital feedback loop. But before I get there, I want to level set everybody on what Microsoft is. When I was a kid, Microsoft was a Windows company. And then over time, we became sort of an Office company. And then we kind of became a server and an infrastructure company. And if you ask my mother-in-law, she thinks I'm actually a HP printer support tech. Okay. I'm not a support tech. Okay. And I didn't fix your internet. Don't call me when you have an escalation to Comcast or Xfinity. I can't really deal with that. But what I can tell you is that Microsoft, again, is a services problem-solving scenario, where if you've got a product you want to innovate on, if you've got an internal process you want to optimize, if you want to figure out a new way for your people to connect to each other or their customers or partners, we've got an app for that. And we consider it in this view for the Microsoft Cloud. And so just the basics of what we do on this platform side, it all starts with the foundation of identity, security, compliance, and management. This is our core differentiation. We start with it. We don't end with it. We don't say, oh, by the way, it's secure as well. No, we lead with it. Your data is your data. It's not ours. We protect it. We incentivize you to make sure you're leveraging it in a secure, integrated way. We provide management, governance, and compliance counsel on top of your data structure and your infrastructure. We don't take your data and sell it. We don't take your data to make our first-party retail experience more profitable for us. We don't take your data and position it with other data to make sure ad spend can increase. We take your data and we store it and we process it and we make sure it's secure and that nobody can touch it but you. And then you do with it what you want. It's a big differentiator for us. And you'll hear a lot of press and analytics about some other companies taking privacy more importantly, taking more heed in their privacy and compliance standards. Well, welcome to the party. Water's warm. We've been doing this for 46 years. I'm glad that you've been fined enough by the European Union and our own federal government to finally wake up and say that feels expensive for us to use our customers' data against them. We don't do that here. And I want you to remember that on a cloud infrastructure investment perspective. All right. We start with Azure. A lot of people don't know what Azure is. It's the baseline services of identity, of people, of data, of infrastructure, of process. All the controls and compliance of interacting with technology. It all gets done through the fabric infrastructure of Azure. So we always call that as the base level of the house. The middle layer there is GitHub and Microsoft Power Platform. These are our development and developer tools platforms. GitHub, the biggest open source data and code sharing environment on the planet. Microsoft Power Platform is a tool and a process and an entire framework of applications and services that help citizen developers develop amazing applications and services directly within the Azure footprint. Those two services together entail that anybody who wants to build something on top of our services can do it, whether it's deep technical code blocks or whether it's a citizen developer who wants to drag and drop and configure some platforms to do a very specific need. We offer developer tools to support that. And on top of it is what users, the majority of our people, touch and feel. Microsoft 365, our productivity suite, coupled with Surface, one of the best, highest powered computing platforms on the planet. That's your Word, that's your Excel, that's your PowerPoint, that's your Outlook, that's your email. That's also your Teams and chat and calling and collaboration documentation. LinkedIn, the biggest social networking platform in the professional setting in the world, which also provides training, documentation, resumes, adopted worldwide for its ability to connect professionals with professionals. We're a big kid network. I don't have LinkedIn for under 13-year-olds. We have LinkedIn for people that want to seek guidance, new jobs, new candidates for new jobs, and to extend digital skilling to the masses. And then we have Microsoft Dynamics 365, which is our CRM and our ERP ecosystem. We want line of business apps to be more secure, to leverage AI analytics and drive cleaner insights out of as well. So we've got our own Dynamics platform as well to drive those experiences. So that's a very high level view of the top line services when we talk about what Microsoft's cloud strategy is. And we're all in on the cloud. We're all in on Windows as a service, on Office 365 productivity as a service, on Azure, compute, storage, analytics, AI, all in on cloud investment. And I get asked this a lot. I'm not in the cloud yet. I still have a server under my desk. When the pandemic hit, you want to be the person that goes and reboots that. When a bad actor attacks on-premises infrastructure, are you the person who's patching that box? And I believe there's a lot of really talented security professionals in the world. But do you think you can really invest more in your security and compliance fabric than a company like Microsoft? Because we invest about $10, $12 billion a year, specifically in our infrastructure, rolling it out, scaling it, making it bigger and more resilient than ever before. Every day, we're pushing innovation into our cloud platform. And if you can do that better, with more control, advocacy, compliance, management, and keep up with all the latest innovations that happen in the marketplace, then my hat's off to you. But I'm betting we can take care of that for you. And then you start spending for what you consume, not for what you think you might need. That's the advantage of the Microsoft Cloud. All right, back to this digital feedback loop. I really want to walk through these in exact detail. Now, I don't have enough time because otherwise I'd speak for a week on how we've sort of seen customers sort of assume these scenarios. But I want to first talk with that beacon of where we all start, with our people. How do we empower people? And it's really about connected collaboration with each other, with customers, and with partners. You know, the biggest example we use today is on Microsoft 365. 30 billion collaboration minutes in a single day across our platform of Microsoft 365. That's Windows, that's Office, that's Outlook, that's Teams, that's Internet Explorer, which is now being retired and all migrated into the Edge browser, which is really awesome, by the way. If you don't have Edge, go do it. That scenario of Microsoft 365 and people interacting with each other on our productivity platform, 30 billion collaboration minutes in a single day. We're seeing incredible use on empowering employees. And the whole point is, how do we help people do their best work anywhere, anytime with connected productivity and device integration? I've got a very simple example I'll talk about here in a minute. But the example I always use on this when I talk about empowering employees is, I like to think of myself as pretty good at my job. I tell my boss all the time, I'm pretty good at my job. I tell my wife all the time, you know what? I'm A-okay. But the point is, do I want to spend all my time working? Or is there a way I can be more efficient, more productive, more collaborative during the hours I'm working to focus my attention on other activities? I coach my children's baseball team, 3 baseball teams to coach at one time for a C-level executive at Microsoft is a lot, but I'm not traveling, right? I'm here. I'm doing work. I'm not traveling. And so why not sign up to coach a T-ball, a single A, and a triple A team? I made the commitment. I'm going to execute it. So if I can be more efficient during the day to cut off the time after hours that I have to work, I have to follow up, I have to research things. If I can have a persistent collaboration environment in front of me all the time, I want to do that. And so I do it. And Teams has blown up, right, since COVID hit. 145 million active daily users, 650 million Teams calls made. I think about Teams as the platform of the future. And not just the platform. I think about it as the operating system. When I log into my machine, I actually don't even open Outlook anymore. I just do all my work in Teams. I look for my IM. I do my scheduling there. I look for persistent chats on things I missed. I co-author and develop documents directly within the Teams console. And because of our third-party integration, now I can record time off. I can request a requisition to be put out for a new hire. I can actually follow up with some of the marketing collateral I'm pushing through the Adobe infrastructure directly from Teams. You can do payroll, you can hire candidates, you can deal with expenses, all within the Teams construct. That's the example of being a best-in-class calling, IM, calendar system, which Teams is, but also being a platform for true user productivity. Why do I need to go to a website or a separate application to approve expenses for my team? Let me just do it within my productivity platform, which is Teams. So another example of empowering employees is our investment in skilling. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples here on skilling. First, Microsoft Learn. I tell everybody about this, and it's a hidden gem. Microsoft.com Learn. We have guided learning paths that you can take on your own just to learn about the technology. We have found that people who learn about the technology, know the fundamentals, will be more confident and comfortable playing with the technology. And I don't mean to sound selfish, but if you're more comfortable playing in the technology, you might buy some more. So go learn about the technology, right? I'm not biased on this, but I sort of am. Our technology is so vast, right? And so complicated at times. How do we simplify it? And how do we make sure that we empower you to do your best work on the technology stack? We want to start with Microsoft Learn. So one discussion point for you to take is to share with you and your teams Microsoft.com/learn. We've got great opportunities in there for you to dig in, take certification exams, and promote yourself and the skills that you're leveraging in a digital first universe moving forward. The second learning asset we have comes with LinkedIn. We've talked a lot about migrating our own learning assets with Microsoft Learn with LinkedIn Learning, but they actually serve two different purposes. Our own learning assets are really tied to solution area product level learning. And we really care about people understanding the ins and outs of what happens with our service. And if I push to the cloud, what happens to my information? How is it secure? How do you manage ingestion and output? That's all good stuff. And as a CTO, I think it's pretty important. Equally important are the business skills, right, that are required moving forward. And LinkedIn Learning is a fantastic scenario for rounding out your own professional sales, business development, marketing skills. It's about collaborating with others within the LinkedIn construct of attending live events and then also viewing on-demand information, sharing it with your friends, with your peers. We add 60 new courses a week to LinkedIn Learning. So we believe there's two sides of the learning continuum. There's product and technical depth, but we also believe there's the EQ and the sales skills and the business development skills and the marketing and the market analysis skills required to stay up to date and agile with what's happening around us. These are just two examples. One, how I use Teams as my platform to do everything I need to do and commit more time to my family than I do at work. And then two, how do we get better skilled and empower our employees with learning and skills and certifications and badges to make them feel more confident in their day-to-day, more effective in their day-to-day, and also give them a career development path that they can follow. All right, this is my favorite one, empower employees. I've got a couple hundred people in my organization, and we spend a lot of time about how to empower them to do their best work. All right, the next one I'm going to talk about is engage customers. And this is where we started talking about the second phase of that pandemic response, which is just how do I touch my customers? How do I make sure they're okay? How can I reach them when they're not coming in the storefront anymore? When I'm not walking around the streets handing out papers, how do I actually connect them? Right? And how do I talk to them? When they're not walking through a subway and seeing a bunch of flyers plastered up on the wall, how do I engage them in a new way since they're no longer out and walking around, right? And we can't do it in a single context. It has to be multi-platform, multi-scenario. So what we want to do is we want to break down these data scenarios to engage with people, get a complete view of their interaction with ourselves, with us as a company, as well as where their priorities list, and then complete this connected infrastructure of connecting with them. If I launch a marketing campaign, how do I target the individual to get to, who's most likely to click in and select it, who's most likely then to attend, and then what's my follow-up nurture stream with them? That's connected sales and marketing. Everybody's been trying to master this for hundreds of years. How do we do this leveraging technology a little bit better? You know, the example I'm going to give here is Walgreens. Everybody knows Walgreens are a pharmacy. If you don't know Walgreens, well, that's good. I mean, you don't need to go in and get cough medicine or new toothpaste on the run. Well, listen, Walgreens owners, they own Walgreens, Boots, Alliance Healthcare. It's a whole leader in retail and wholesale pharmacy, gigantic organization. And they had a lot of challenges, right? When you think about running into the pandemic. How do we extend the value prop of Walgreens over other solution providers in this space. They had to figure out how to set up a customer loyalty program, an online engagement model. They had to figure out grocery and prescription distribution, order distribution. Then imagine when the vaccine came out, how do you organize, schedule both healthcare providers as well as vaccine storage and supply chain coming in? And then how do you organize for patients and healthcare records, getting access to people's benefits in order to process those vaccines? You can't do that with a clipboard while you sit at the front door. It's all powered on the back of Microsoft Azure and our Teams infrastructure, all built on this fabric of how to take in data from multiple points, pull into one common data model, and then set up a set of line of business applications off of that to manage the workflow, product, supply, partners, customers, experiences. And how do we integrate that leveraging technology? Walgreens had to shift their business model overnight when the pandemic hit. Nobody's coming in anymore. Then when we decided, okay, we can allow some people coming in, but it's really just to pick up prescriptions, they had to shift that business model again to online distribution and acceptance of orders. Then when the vaccine management process came through, they had to shift once again. Leveraging technology allows those business shifts and allows you not only to maintain the loyalty of your existing customer base, but to grow people who weren't Walgreens customers before, they are now, because of the seamless, integrated, and remembering who I am as a customer, what my medical insurance is, and what I'm here to do. That process is so seamless now within Walgreens. They're getting more and more customers on board. So anyway, good example of just how to engage customers a little bit differently. This next one is transform products. Now, as a technology guru, this is sort of what I really kind of enjoy. How do we leverage technology to be able to process more trials, to be able to run tests on products without having the physical product? This is things like digital twins or running high sophisticated AI and machine learning algorithms on test beds and products that we can actually do trials against, as opposed to wasting production cycles. Being able to transform products leveraging technology differently is about being able to visualize something that doesn't actually take physical infrastructure. Think about this hologram you're seeing on the screen today. We have to learn to develop product at scale. And it's both physical product as well as technical innovation. One of the biggest benefits we hear from companies that have adopted Azure is not about the security, not about the resiliency, not about the scale. It's about, I no longer have to order a server, provision it, secure it, make sure it's got the right services on it, and then run some code against it. I can spin up a virtual machine like this, and it costs pennies to do that in order to run a workload, right? Disconnected from my production environment, I can do it like that without complicated procurement processes around physical infrastructure. So how do we speed time to market and transform products in a way to make sure that we've got a competitive advantage, right? And this is all about personal, deep, and citizen developers. This is a geeky code block, one of the ones I like. But how do we actually share within GitHub Explorer active code blocks and share it amongst a project team, amongst an open source community with people who may have figured it out beforehand? The basis of transforming products is all built on Azure. And I like this view because it gives you an example of a bunch of services that behind the scenes, you don't actually care exist. You just need to know they all work and they're all connected together. Whether it's our infrastructure investments around networking, security, identity, all the way up to serverless and the next generation of app modernization with web and mixed reality, containers, AI, Internet of Things. These are all technology scenarios that make code and products scalable and extendable to future environments. And then how does that technology resonate in the marketplace? It's at the edge, it's at stack. It's with companies like CenturyLink, Lumen, and Verizon and AT&T betting on extending Wi-Fi networks into rural America and doing development and data collection everywhere in the world to consume to make products better. These is our Azure footprint. These are all the products that rely on our Azure background. And the number one example I use on this is GE Aviation. I always wondered back in the day, if you were the first person to fly a brand new plane, like what does that look like? Hey, so we built a plane. It's got sort of like an on button, and then it's got a go motion and a whoa motion. We think we got the physics right on the wings, and we think the engine itself, we think it's good enough. So what we want you to do is go up there, give it a couple turns, and see what happens. We're better than that now. We can leverage technology in trials and product development scenarios in a perfectly robust virtual environment that can immediately be replicated in the physical real world. And GE Aviation is just a great example of that. Not only how they've run several trials and analysis, they've cut down production plant requirements to only run actual production levels. It's a good thing to test and pilot a lot of different product over time. But when you're wasting cost and you're wasting, valuable engineering cycles on physical trials until you get that perfect iteration, you're sending a lot of pilots up in an untested aircraft. It's a waste of cycles, resources, and time to market. And so leveraging technology to do that more effectively, GE Aviation is a great example of that. All right, the final one is optimize operations. And I know there's probably some IT people in the room that are like, I love optimizing operations. There's probably a lot of CFOs out there that say, we love cost efficacy and optimizing operations. And I'm not saying it's not important, because it obviously is. It's the number one use case actually for technology adoption in the world. How do we make things better, more efficient, and cheaper? What we want to do is we want to make sure we take all those interactions we have with our customers and our products, and we want to be able to package them in a secure, integrated way, and then deliver insights around them. I used to have a boss back in the day who used to say, if you make decisions without data, you can make decisions fast. They're just dumb. Now, if you have a lot of data and you leverage that data to make decisions, but you're not driving any insights with the data, you're just using data to make decisions, you can make a lot of decisions that are less dumb and almost as fast, but they're still not optimized. We want to collect data. We want to aggregate and standardize data. We want to then derive machine learning, analytics, AI. We want to integrate with third-party data to drive the right level of insights to be an optimized decision-making factory. My favorite company in the world, well, it's not really, my favorite company in the world is Kraft, because I love mac and cheese. But this one company in the world called FastShop is a pretty good example of leveraging Azure Synapse Analytics and Power BI. And you ask them what they do. All right. It's a Brazilian retailer. They specialize in customers with unique experiences on what they're looking for and how to proactively provide insights on what trends or fashion or retail or technical services somebody might want based on previous past purchase behavior, as well as how they profile themselves within the loyalty program. Awesome example. You ask them what they do. They're a retailer, by the way. And you ask them what they sell, what they do. And we sell decisions to customers before they know they're asking a question. We know so much about our customers' interaction and their preferences and what they'll do next. We sell them that decision before they know they've been asked for what it looks like. And I love that. That's leveraging data and customer loyalty to predict shopping trends and behaviors in the future, and to give your customers a guided path to what experiences or products will make them more happy, more efficient, more optimized in the future. It's a fantastic application of taking customer data, ingesting it, driving analytics and insights to get it, and then producing predictive models on what products and services to target to what customers. All right, that's a lot. That's our digital feedback loop, and we want to make sure that you're still grounded in this foundation of identity, security, and compliance. I sort of skipped over it, but we really do believe in this zero trust security strategy to maintain all that business continuity. And it's going to start right here. It's going to start with all these devices connecting. And what we think about, regardless of what your adoption curve is on cloud technology, you're touching infrastructure and technology wherever you are. More web apps get created a day now than just 7 years ago were created in a month. So there's all kinds of new innovation that's happening, particularly, again, with the pandemic and people doing everything more virtually. So we got more interaction happening online. We've got more mobile and endpoint connection points to this vast cloud and networked topology of data. We also have 10 times the bad actors now. We got a bunch of people that are looking to take advantage of these security vulnerabilities. And so the future of security for your infrastructure, for your data, for your customer experience is going to be in cybersecurity. So if you don't take any sort of cloud adoption to empower your employees or to transform how you build products or to optimize your operations, engage customers differently, do it for security. Trust our security model over your own. Trust the checks and balances we have when an infrastructure is interacting with your email, with your applications, with your customer data. Put us on the hook to be your security blanket. Don't try and do it alone, because it's the future of cybersecurity is an innovation in real time in the cloud. And we think about it all this spectrum. It starts with identities, endpoints, apps, data, and then on to infrastructure with billions upon billions of malicious attacks happening on the daily basis right now, with people trying to get access to your information. I promise, we all know somebody who's either been impacted. We all have, it's either us or we know somebody who's been impacted by a scam or a phishing scam, right? Don't put your corporate infrastructure, your customer relationships to risk by not leveraging a cybersecurity provider like us. Two last things I want to talk about. One, extending the Microsoft Cloud. Again, we have this first-party service. I get the pleasure every day of really working through companies all over the world that take our first-party products and then embed them into what they're doing. We have heard there's other cloud solution providers out there. I don't know who they are. I've just read about it in the interwebs. But apparently there's other public cloud providers. We don't think that should limit you from being secure, integrated, and driving identity authentication. So we've provided services and tools on top of other on-premises survivors, on top of other cloud providers that will give you the sanctity of security integration, right? That will tell you how to manage identity, who has access to your information or not. So even if you've made a weak and perilous decision to trust your online infrastructure with somebody else, you can still be safe. You can still be secure. You can still be extendable. And so right now we're working to develop all of those applications and services that tie this vast array of data and applications and services that do exist into one platform of governance and control. And we think the Microsoft Cloud is the best way to do that. We do a lot of that integration through our partner ecosystem. These are all the different ways that we invest as a company in our partner ecosystem. I have to do this. I'm contractually obligated. I manage and work in the One Commercial Partner Group. And we believe in building solutions with partners. We believe in co-selling solutions with partners. And we believe in a joint go-to-market scenario, which is around demand generation and giving customers confidence that your products and your services are built